Hello, how is everyone doing? Um, Today's topic is about speaking your mind and how hard it can be to do that. And I know it is easier said than done, but I'm not talking about inside a doctor's office or therapist or whatever. I'm talking about your family and your friends and people who come up to you and if you're a cutter or whatever, ask you what happened and how to react in those situations. And it's not easy because it kind of, especially like if someone comes up to you and it's like a stranger, it's really putting you on the spot. And so I'm just gonna share some of my experiences and what's worked for me and what's not worked. Um, Although it may be different for everybody else, this is just my experiences. And some people are more private than me. Obviously, I'm not as private as most. I put my entire life basically out there for other people to educate. Um, so, first, talk about family and friends. I know that, especially with this, is more to do with like self harm and stuff too, but also even just mental illness, having mental illness, how talking about it like without freaking people out, like especially like if you're suicidal and who do you tell? Who's not gonna call the cops? Is are they gonna freak out? Are they gonna not want to be a friend anymore? Is it gonna freak them out? Like those are probably the things that go through your mind. Sorry, I'm having a cigarette while I'm doing this. But especially like parents and friends, like if they're your real friends, they'll understand them. It might be hard for them at first, but just you have to understand that sometimes, and I don't mean to insult anybody, speaking for myself, my normal isn't their normal. So when I talk about things like suicide and stuff, that brings like red flags up in their head and thinking, okay, why is she talking about this and like is she gonna kill herself tomorrow or whatever, and really all it is just suicidal fantasies, and I know that, and I know the difference, but they don't know the difference. And so it's all about explaining things to them, like the differences, like they can't read your mind, like you really have to know that what you're saying to them, what and the way you view it is different than the way that they view it. So you have to explain more if for them to feel at ease and comfortable too. And you're probably thinking, well, why should they feel comfortable? Like it's my life, but I mean, you want people around you to love you. And, well, they're gonna love you no matter what, but like understand you. That's what the word I was looking for. Understand you, and to do that, then you have to let them in, and that's hard to do, especially when and they're not gonna get it. They're not going to, but it's not their fault because to get this, like to get mental illness and how anguish and the despair it can bring, like only the people who have experienced it can really understand it fully, and so you have to be patient with people. Um, Although there are some people who are very ignorant, they don't want to know, and screw them, and that's fine. But I'm just talking about the people who do want to know. Let them in. If that's your comfort zone. If you don't want to let them in at all, don't let them in at all. Easy as that. But I'm saying if you do, try to explain more because they probably don't. Like I said, they're not on the same wavelength. Now, to strangers, especially for like self-harmers with scars. Um, I've numerous times have had people come up to me and say, "Oh, what happened to your arms?" And I, I would say, "Oh, well, I'm a cutter. I've struggled with self harm." And they ask questions, and I'd answer them. Not everybody is comfortable doing that, though. Some people might be like, "Well, fuck you," you know. You can't ask me that. That's private, and but that's the wrong way. I think that's the wrong way to do that. I mean, if you don't want to explain it, don't say it, like, get upset. Like, just say, "I'd rather not talk about it," or something like that. Because people don't understand it, and when they ask, I think they're genuinely curious. If they say it in a mean way, then yeah, forget it, for sure. Because I've had people come to me and be like, "Well, what the hell did you do?" And that's not the right way to approach someone who self-harms. But they don't know that either. So, I mean, it's kind of up in the air. It's not, I don't know. It's hard to determine, but, um, every circumstance is different. But basically, like, my way, anyways, the way I live is I like to educate people on topics such as self harm and mental illness and addiction and things like that, and answer their questions. But some people are more private than that, and that's totally fine too. But there's, I don't know, especially if you're younger and you're in school, and people ask you, "Oh my God," what your friend says, "Oh my God, what happened to your arm?" Or so just, and you say cat scratch or something. I know it's different in the school system because if someone tells a teacher, the teacher has to call home. And I know that's tricky. I've gone through that too, and that sucks. Um, but if you need to confide in someone, this is for younger people too. Confide in a teacher. Confide in a parent. Too scared to do that. Confide in a friend. Confide in your local crisis line, your helpline. Um, so there's always options out there. Find a network of people who go through the similar things that you do, and yeah, like, talk to them. But you gotta be careful because some of them are just like, they're pro. Like, go and cut yourself. That's pretty cool. Like, look at my scars; they're better than yours. I'm talking about networks like who are about getting better and getting help and stuff like that. Um, Sarah went out. That went out. But yeah, so do that. Um, and patience is a virtue. Just put it that way, because people aren't gonna get it. People aren't gonna get it. The only thing they can get is that they can't get it, and just they just want to know you're safe in most cases. I'm speaking for myself more than I am. I'm sorry if I'm like putting words in people's mouths. I'm not trying to. This is just my experience. Um, but even people who are rude and ask, like, "What the fuck did you do to your arm?" or whatever, they're probably, it's their way, like, of asking. They're just uncomfortable, so it comes off abrasive. But yeah, so I don't know. And anyone who watches my videos and does need someone to talk to, feel free to message me, and I'm totally there for anybody who needs help. or wants to talk to someone. Okay, bye. Just cutting it short.